He's been known by many names.
The Gerudo King, the King of Thieves,
The Prince of Darkness,
the Hyrule Hunk. But for many Midwest Super Smash Bros. Melee players, he's been another thing altogether.
Ball.
This is Dorfball, also known as Ganondorf.
One of Midwest Melee's favorite alternative game modes, and one of the many side events that were featured in 2023 at the Big House 11.
All right, so you have 2 Captain Falcons. Each player's a Captain Falcon. You're on the same team, no team attack. On another team is a level 1 Ganondorf, that's the ball. And you're trying to score on one of the sides of the screen.
In Dorfball, each player is assigned a side of the stage based on their controller port, either the left side or the right side. Players will then attempt to knock out the Ganondorf CPU by KOing him into the blast zone of their opponent's side of the screen. Knock Ganondorf into your opponent's blast zone with a Falcon Punch and you'll get 2 points. Knock him into your opponent's blast zone with any other attack and you'll get 1.
Only counts if it's off the sides. Off the top and bottom, no point, and it's first to 7 wins.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't die off the side. Doesn't count.
Damn it!
You can kill yourself as many times as you want.
Yeah.
So SDs are encouraged if you're going for the suicide kills, and you can own goal as well.
Crucial.
So if you get a reverse hit and you knee Falcon the wrong way, or you might be losing a point, or if you Falcon Punch reverse, you might give the other person 2 points.
Yeah, like 4 minutes and he's gotten points. Okay,
All right.
nice. Oh, get fucked.
So how did this one weird game mode end up at one of the most important Melee tournaments of the year? The answer lies in West Michigan Melee's curious competitive culture.
According to its most dedicated players, Dorfball has existed in Michigan tournaments for nearly a decade now.
After Grand Valley State University student Wooly found an outline of the game mode online while looking for ways to spice up college events in 2015.
I'm pretty sure I saw a Reddit post way back in the day, like many years ago, with some sort of like side fun Melee rule sets to play, and I saw this one and I thought it sounded pretty fun. I can't remember if they used like a Jigglypuff or if they used a Ganon, but we decided to use a Ganondorf.
Versions of a game called Dorfball had seen competitive play in Smash before, most notably in Perth, Australia, where a decidedly different game mode with the same name had been played, featuring 2 teams of Ganondorf playing a soccer-style game in a custom map in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Michigan-style Dorfball, however, would soon show real staying power, and become emblematic of West Michigan Melee.
It's just something that we've constantly been, I can't really say pushing, but it's something that we've always just had on the side. As something that's like a little bit of flavor of the area if you ever came out to anything with us.
I'm like you, Ginger, and Mike B. I always remember playing a bunch.
Sports. Knee, up there. There. Oh, off top. That's factory reset.
It gets pretty crazy, and also it's really funny to watch like the first like 40% that gets put on Ganon, where it's like, it's a bunch of grabs, regrabs, weak nairs, someone knees, and then it's off to the races, and you're running every direction. It's very funny, and it gets really explosive, but it does end up being a lot of defense. But it's kind of that way with a lot of stuff, when like people start realizing what the techniques are that they need to be doing, how to make sure you've always got like, you've got your back air out in front of the other guy's knee so that when he knees, it hits into the back air, stuff like that, to try and make sure that you're not being scored on.
Dorfball's success may have lain in its simplicity, being easy to understand and learn, but containing a surprising amount of defensive counterplay. Or maybe it was just that it was a funny idea. The game is a breeding ground for slapstick interactions, especially when its ball decides to fight back.
Sometimes like you think you have this like, oh, this is like the easiest Falcon Punch in my life. The other person's dead, and then Ganondorf will jab, or I saw Ganondorf roll on you.
You'll hit like the other person, like, no, you're not allowed to hit me, you're not allowed to hit me, and like that.
Sometimes like I saw Gio and I, we both got hit by identical hits of the down smash.
It's the funniest thing to watch someone get hugged by Ganon's up B when Ganon's trying to recover repeatedly. It's just so funny.
While West Michigan has perhaps taken to the game mode most vigorously, in the 2010s, Dorfball would find its way into other avenues of the Melee landscape, from Illinois Melee to even Texas Project M.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another match of Dorfball. Darkgun already taking the initiative. Never mind, it's the ball that takes the initiative. Oh, no. Dorfball. No, he does off the bottom of the blast zone.
Some of these rule sets would differ a bit from the Michigan style. One tournament I found, for example, didn't use team mode, meaning that the two Falcons were allowed to hit each other, something that isn't possible in traditional Dorfball, which is played in teams with team attack turned off.
We've always run it as a teams game, specifically with team attack off, because the goal for like what we always wanted was the interplay of stealing the other guy's combo. So grabbing Ganon out of a knee or a Falcon Punch, or stomping him out of the other guy's nair to try to carry him to the side. Like, if you just kill your opponent and then just Falcon Punch Ganon, that's not the point of the game mode.
So this version of Dorfball may look like an aberration to some who are used to the no team attack version of the game. But free-for-all Dorfball may in fact date back just as far as the original rule set. While trying to find more historical evidence of Dorfball after having already begun this project, I found myself in the dark, mysterious backstreets of Reddit, where I found what I believe is the original Reddit post that popularized Dorfball as we know it today. In this post from June 2nd, 2015, 3 months before Dorfball's debut at the GVGP tournament series in September of 2015, Redditor Rayburn Melee outlines the rule set as something he and a buddy came up with. The rules are fairly similar to what players play today, requiring both players play Falcon on a stage with a Ganon CPU, trying to knock the Ganon into horizontal blast zones for points. On this original Reddit thread, one user asked Rayburn whether he likes to play it with teams and team attack off, with team attack on, or in free-for-all mode. And in the thread, he said that he's played both variants, but that non-teams is definitely more fun, IMO. But it works both ways. Whether you play it Illinois or Michigan style, the late 2010s were boom times for Dorfball, but then came a global pandemic. In 2020, Melee events would have to move almost entirely into the online space, something that was greatly helped by the release of rollback netcode for Melee in Project Slippy. But Slippy's lack of support for custom game settings meant that Dorfball saw little play from 2020 to 2021, outside of from some diehards willing to use Melee's older netplay clients. The pandemic changed the world, and Melee forever. But lately, things have started looking up for Dorfball. First, the mode saw its return to Western Michigan tournaments this past spring. Then, when the Midwest's biggest tournament, the Big House 11, came on the horizon, West Michigan TO Anasazi knew what he had to do.
Big House did put out a tweet. Anyone who wanted to host a tournament of any type, as long as you can provide the stuff to run said tournament, they'll give you space to do it. This was their community event program that they were putting together. I put my hat in the ring, and they said, yeah, sure, as long as you can provide setups for whatever the heck this thing is.
Thanks to the Big House's community tournament program, Dorfball was back. And while it wasn't quite on the big stage, it was at least adjacent. About 16 players would make their way into this bracket, and once again, West Michigan would carry the Dorfball torch.
I was given a time slot. I ran 2 to 4 on Saturday at Big House. Ended up having 16 entrants, 2 of which didn't end up showing, which is fine, and one guy whose controller bricked out on him right as he started to try to play. So West Michigan sweep. I think we had 6 or 7 out of top 8, so we did all right.
In the end, the tournament would go down to Wooly and Kaiser, 2 players who had played the game back in the day at the GVGP events, competing to see who was the best modern Dorfball player. Ultimately, it was Kaiser who would deny Wooly a bracket reset and win the tournament.
It was a great honor. I am proud to be among the echelon of Big House champions. I'm ready for my poster next year, so we'll talk to Juggle Guy.
Hang it up in the rafters.
Kaiser, Dorfball 2023.
What's next for Dorfball? The answer may lay in the hands of viewers like you. Thank you.
Falcon punch!